Righty then. Alright. Just gonna wait for fellas to show their ugly faces. Alright. Yo-Yo Games. It has been a moment or two. It has been a moment since I've last seen you. How you been? So I did have my friend Jake here, but I think he stepped away for a moment. We'll see if he returns anytime soon. But yeah, the title says it all. I'm going to be ranking Marvel films. And I've got some strong opinions. So, really strong opinions on a few of them. Oh, he returns.
What's up?
Jake, everyone, and by everyone I mean the two people that are currently watching.
My fucking AirPods destroyed me. I don't know why, but it doesn't allow me to talk.
Is that why you weren't talking?
Yeah. I was able to hear you the whole time. It was pissing me off.
I don't think you'll need your AirPods. I think it'll be fine. But yeah, I have no clue if people are even going to show up, because people don't like to show up. But so I put them in order. I put all the movies in order just to make life easier. So I'll let you start, Jake. Any strong opinions on the original Iron Man? Oh wait, I should explain the tiers first, shouldn't I? It's pretty self-explanatory, but the best of the best is probably not going to have. It's probably going to have at most 2, maybe 3 movies in there. Almost Immaculate is like almost really good, but has like 1 or 2 issues with it. Above Average is just like, it's that self-explanatory. Entertaining is just going to be just an average Marvel movie. Has its moments is for movies that for the most part are not that great, but like 30 to 45 minutes of it were pretty good. Boring are like Captain Marvel. An absolute trash is like Eternals.
Solid. Alright.
So yeah.
I'm ready.
Alright, let's start with Iron Man.
Iron Man? Alright. So the villain for Iron Man, if I remember correctly, was fucking what's his face?
I think
literally the dude.
Some guy like Obadiah Stane or something like that.
Yeah. He was his dad's friend, which is kind of cool. But at the same time, like him as a villain was just weird to me.
Yeah, I thought the villain was probably the weakest part of the movie, but that's just because he was a copy of Iron Man, basically.
Exactly. Because it's a great fucking movie. See, to me, Iron Man, when I first saw it, it was one of the best, it was the first Marvel movie. So, to see it in, film was really fucking cool. I just feel like the villain itself was weird.
Yeah. I mean, to me, the villain makes sense because he's just he literally is just copying Iron Man. He was like, I think he was like honest about that at one point. He was just copying him and doing what he did for like his company, his money, everything like that. So he thought he'd make just a bigger, better suit than him to be able to overpower.
So funny. He's so funny.
He's so
the biggest copycat out of everyone.
Honestly, I would say that I would put Iron Man in like this tier, but like lower this tier. Like lower, almost
Yeah,
immaculate. Because
I
I,
gotta,
I
because
don't think
it's
above average does it justice.
no, because I love the scenes where he's in the fucking cave. I love the scenes where he has to go through like all the turmoil and fucking like hardships while also being the fucking like most brilliant person in the world.
Mm,
He's he's a great fucking character and the movie itself is great.
mm,
Um I don't know. I feel like above average, yeah, you're right. It wouldn't do it justice because there's not that many like bad scenes in it.
mm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I just like I like I like this movie just like for what it did before the MCU. It was testing the waters for the MCU, and at this point in time I am pretty neutral um about it, but I would say for a first movie, for a
It was
character that
beautiful.
was like I he might have been like a B list character, something like that. He was kind of like a middle ground character, but when they made this movie, that this character skyrocketed in popularity because of how well written he was and how good
Yes.
Robert Downey Jr. was as the character. And
I
also
think
this like saved Robert Downey Jr.'s I think career, something like that.
nah, but like Robert Downey Jr. just he took the character to heart, except for his son wearing Spider-Man apparel, but that's besides the point. Um, he he is the embodiment of Iron Man. I can't see anyone else being Iron Man.
Mm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. I have nothing else to say, just a good movie overall. It's just a good movie even if you like separate it from the MCU. It's a solid film.
It's like a I wouldn't want to like rate it on a number scale because we're doing obviously a better scaling here. Um,
I would give this movie like a
but I
9,
think
9.5 out of 10. Like that's just me though.
see, I would give it like a 9 too. I think I would give it a 9 too. I think it's just a really solid film.
All
What's next?
right, so we got Incredible Hulk. I
Oh,
haven't I haven't seen this movie in years. I just remember it being boring.
see, all
I
right.
mean, actually
I
no,
was,
no, no. I thought the fight was good. I liked the fight
yeah.
because it
I
was
see.
entertaining.
Hulk was my favorite character as like a kid. I used to, you know how you had fucking Halloween costumes with like Batman and shit and
Yeah.
Spider-Man. I had Hulk. So to see him in like a fucking a better animated like because I remember watching the Hulk movies before the MCU kind of like blew up, like the old ass ones from like 1970. 'Cause my dad would show me them. But I think I don't know. It was an odd like looking back at it, it's just oddly filmed.
Hmm.
But I think that it was a good movie for what it was trying to do. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like it wasn't the best movie. It was really fun and entertaining to watch as like a kid growing up because it was just fucking Hulk being a monster. Um, I remember the dog scene. I don't really know why that was a thing.
Hmm.
Um, where he fought those three dogs.
Yeah. I just I don't really remember much from the movie. The only thing I do remember is like a few like shots from like the final fight. And I feel like if I only remember the final fight, that kind of tells you a lot about the movie itself. I'd have to rewatch it cuz it has been almost a decade since I've seen it. But
I can agree with that.
I mean the
I
people don't like this movie. And I don't I
I
feel
can
like it
see
gets too
why.
much
I
hate.
can see why.
Yeah, but I can see why.
Mm-hmm. But I feel like you're right. It does have its moments. It's just an okay film. It's not anything special. Um, it's a different story if they did like Bruce Banner now,
Yeah.
but it's not. It's just a whole different character. It has nothing to do with like Marvel nowadays.
Yeah. Plus, the Hulk isn't really the Hulk anymore.
No, it's kind of She-Hulk.
So true.
I think we got it pretty good.
Yeah.
It was a solid like 5 movie.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd give it like a 4.5. 5. But now Iron Man 2. I think Iron Man 2 gets too much hate. I actually liked this movie. Not as
All
much
right.
as like Iron Man
Iron
because
Man
it's
2 is
I would say it's like low above average.
catch me up to speed.
So Iron
Iron
Man
Man 2
2 has
is that the one
Whiplash.
where War Machine? Oh shit. Whiplash is a great villain. I loved him. I don't know why people don't like him. He he is I don't know. He's like the embodiment of a villain. Goes through struggle, fucking has to deal with all the like turmoil of it, and then takes it out on Tony Stark. I think the action scenes in this movie are fucking cool. I think the suit ups in this movie are cool. I just
Mm,
think it makes Tony Stark look more of a badass.
yeah. I'm pretty sure the whole reason he wanted to go after Tony Stark was because it had something to do with his father. Either it was working with Stark Technologies or Stark Technologies just took their
Was
ideas.
Stark
It had something
Yeah.
to do with an arc reactor, but I'm not 100% sure. But like he basically just got angry after his father died. I think it was at the beginning. And I thought Whiplash was a really good villain. I think they did a better job with the villain than the first film. But that's
Mm-hmm.
just me. But I
I can.
think I think the main issue that I have is that Whiplash starts off as this more unique villain, but slowly becomes like more of a Tony Stark clone towards the end. And it's because
Yeah,
of this
because
other character who's also like in the
it's just
weapons
like
business that tries to help him or something. I don't remember, but it was some
yeah,
guy who was trying to sell I guess the military like missiles or something at the beginning, and then he teamed up with the character, and it just kind of became a little more stale at the end.
that's where the movie just like it's just trying to copy the first movie, I
Yeah.
feel. And that's why I wouldn't rate it above the first movie, but I would rate it like a very good movie. Like it's just it's better than most of the films. It's just above average.
Yeah. Yeah, I got
I feel
nothing
like
more to
it's a
say
good like
about it though.
good 8 movie. It's a good
Yeah.
like 8 movie. You throw it on, you're just like, yeah, fuck yeah, Tony Stark.
I agree. Now Thor, I'm going to be completely honest with you. I have never seen Thor.
Like
Have you?
ever?
I've never seen Thor.
Yeah, Thor.
So I'm going to go off of what you say, honestly.
So basically, Thor falls in love with this girl on Earth after a gate is opened, but it's like a sci-fi film at first. So it's really boring in the beginning. The action sequences are like really fucking cool because he fights what's his face? Oh god. It's like this masked dude with slits in his face and he's got like fire and shit and a big sword. He also fights like a whole bunch of like
What up, Jesse?
other like dark people. If I don't know if I can, I'll look it up.
I mean, from what I've heard, nowadays people like Thor more than they used to, like the movie.
Yeah. All right. This is it's hard because I love Thor as a character. Um, he's one of my favorite characters in the MCU now.
Mm.
When this movie came out, he was not.
He was too
It didn't do
Shakespearean
him.
at the time.
Yes. Yes. It was more just the blonde hair fucking hammer. But there's more to Thor than that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um. Oh God, I'm looking up. Thor.
I mean,
The
from what I've
original
heard, it's
film.
probably a middle of the road movie, Marvel movie.
It's just yeah, it's entertaining and hmm.
Uh,
I kind of want to put it in has its moments because it does just have its moments.
above
I
or below
wouldn't say
Hulk? I would probably say above Hulk, right?
yeah, it's definitely above Hulk, but that's just because Hulk's so old. But Thor, just the normal film is just mm, it's just
Yeah. Honestly,
it's
Captain
okay.
America, I just want to put it out there. I think it's just a middle of the road Marvel film. It's to me, it's not that special. Chris Evans does a great job as the character, but I don't think the
Yeah,
story was like enough. The movie was very boring for the actually it's probably just has its moments cuz the movie to me is very boring for the most part.
see, I love like war movies. So 1940 was like a prime time in war, if you know what I mean. Uh,
Sure,
but
sure. We'll put it like that.
I don't know. I think I like, I love Captain America as a character again. Um, he's just a great fucking like embodiment of a superhero. Like he'll do anything. I like the beginning sequences where he goes from like scrawny white boy to fucking Jack Daniel fucking Ram F-150. So, um, just a, I don't know. But then it starts to like get off towards the middle of the film. Like now he's fighting this red dude, but like he's just an elevated Nazi.
Yeah.
I kind of agree
Yeah.
with you. It has moments, but I like it's definitely better than Thor, for sure. It's not anything like super special, but
Yeah.
it's definitely got its moments of being special.
See, as we as
Because
oh, you keep going. Cuz I was going to
it's an
say something.
iconic film.
Yeah. Yeah, I just haven't. A lot of these movies I just haven't seen in a while. Once we get to the movies that I've seen more recently, I'll have a lot more to say. Even the shows, like I'll have a lot more to say about them. Like once we get to
Oh, we got the show.
probably Guardians 2 and Doctor Strange is when I have a lot to say.
Yeah, I
Uh,
can agree with that. It's just it's been so long.
that yeah.
And the problem is you get stuck in like schoolwork and shit and then you don't watch them.
Yeah. Like last time I did like a Marvel marathon was I want to say 2 years ago. So a lot of these opinions are coming from 2 years ago. But also
Yeah.
some more
I
recently as I've talked with people about these movies.
I think the last time I tried to watch all of them together was with Lenny maybe last year. Maybe. I don't even know. I think it was just a fucking period of time where I just don't remember.
Yeah. So
Avengers.
Avengers,
All right.
I'm honestly putting it above Iron Man. Actually no, that's not true. Wrong one.
I can
Wrong one.
agree.
I'm going to put it on the same tier as Iron Man because in my opinion, Avengers 1 is actually my least favorite of the four.
Yeah, I can that's with Ultron or is it with Loki?
This one's with Loki. I like Ultron
Okay,
more
yeah.
than the original. And
Yeah.
I don't know why I got so much hate because I when I first saw it, I liked it more than Avengers 1 at the time.
I still agree with that. I think Avengers 1 was just an iconic film. Like I remember going to see that in theaters with my dad and it was just it was cinematonic. I can't fucking speak. Cinematic, like it was just a masterpiece. I remember watching it, seeing all of the superheroes that I just watched, as like a kid, and like to have that come to life was just cool as fuck.
Mm, yeah. I liked well, I actually watched this, at least the first half of it recently. Um I really like how they were able to like make the characters work off each other because they were so different, especially Thor. He was so different to like all the other characters. Like the
Yeah,
Hulk only
it
had
was
one
literally
movie with a completely different actor. Black Widow and Hawkeye were only in like 30 minutes of the movies, and like the ability of the writers and the directors and the actors to have the characters work off each other so well. It's still impressive to this day, like how they were
I
able
think
to make them work together as characters.
even to like watch it back, it's still like cool as fuck. Like I think Loki as a villain is just a really cool villain because he's so like unique in that sense, but also like there's so much going on that it's so entertaining.
Mm. Yeah, and they're able to make all these like plots in the beginning come together pretty well.
I agree. And like you have all these like I don't
It's
know,
Morbius there.
issues, but
Listen,
everything is like solved
was
from listening.
MC. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm not talking about this movie. Morbius, unfortunately, is not an MCU movie because it's too good to be an MCU movie. Anyway, go on, Jake.
What commented about Morbius?
Someone from somebody who is a loyal subscriber.
MC Productions. Thank you, MC Productions. Um,
Actually, while we're on Morbius, what do you think of it, Jake? Even though you were asleep for most of it.
uh, dude, I don't want to talk about Morbius. So bad.
No, no,
It's
that's
so.
no, that's best of the best material right there.
I would put absolute trash for Morbius.
You have just the wrong opinions of everything, man.
You say so, man.
Only true
Okay,
cinephiles will appreciate Morbius.
is the next one Iron Man 3?
Yeah. I liked Iron Man 3 a lot. I would say it's probably honestly same level as Iron Man for me because I like how the main thing I liked about it was how they incorporated the PTSD from Avengers into the movie.
Yes.
And I
Yes.
also did like I don't know, I just liked his interactions with the kid a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I just thought it
You
was
connect.
overall really entertaining, and the villain was pretty cool too. The guy, the fire guy, I think his name was like Killian or something.
Yes.
I liked him a lot, and the Mandarin twist. I don't care what people say. I liked the Mandarin twist a lot. I just like this movie a lot.
It it was just a solid movie. I remember just watching it and being like on the edge of my seat the whole time. I was so engaged with this movie. And I felt like it's a similar like engagement with Avengers, but it was nowhere it I don't want to say it was nowhere near Iron Man 1, but it was very like different than Iron Man 1. It had
Mm,
like a whole different feeling to it.
yeah, because at this point, both Robert Downey Jr. and the studio kind of figured out Iron Man as a character.
Mm-hmm.
So this they had the perfect representation of him in this movie at this point, especially with the PTSD.
Yeah. I think you got it ranked pretty well. What is it? An almost immaculate? Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh god.
All right. So
So
Thor: The Dark World. I've seen this one like a decade ago, and I thought it was the most boring movie I've ever seen.
I gotta tell you, I think I agree. Is it the one with like the dark people?
Yeah, the dark elf, the dark people.
um,
I love the dark people.
what about dark people?
Huh?
I
Anyway,
saw Black Widows. Um, it just wasn't fun. Like it didn't do him justice again. I think Thor is a really like I'm gonna use a fucking. He's a sparky character, and they didn't include
I
that at all.
get it. I get it.
Fucking jokes. It's just not fun. He's
Yeah.
not cool. He doesn't look cool. He's just fighting dark elves, which why the fuck would I want to watch
I
that?
don't even remember the plot, man. I just remember like
There was
Malekith
no
or
plot.
something
The
was
dark
the guy.
elves just wanted to take his girlfriend. That's all they wanted to do.
Oh, that's right. She like touched
She
the
ingested
reality
some,
stone or something like that.
she ingested something, and they really just wanted the EDP 445.
I okay, we're moving on. I don't even know what that means. But
445.
Captain America 2
Which
is
one is this one?
it's the Winter Soldier.
Oh my god.
That is like one. I'm not gonna put it in best of the best because I don't think it's best of the best, but it is literally like right there. It is
I
right
think,
there.
yeah, I think that one's gonna stay on top for um
I think this is
Immaculate.
probably going to be on top of the top of Immaculate because it's just like I know a few people that actually hate this movie and I don't understand it.
I don't either.
I thought
Because
the plot was like a 10 out of 10. The action was like a 9.5 out of 10. The character development was insane. I like how Black Widow had a bigger role in this film too cuz she was really good in this film. Nick
I forgot
Fury
what
and the fucking
fucking
Hydra like be infiltrating Shield and having the helicarriers attack like people.
yeah.
Like that was a cool
Fucking,
concept. Like corruption from the inside. I liked it.
wasn't there Black Panther in this movie too?
No, I think that was Civil War
Yes, sorry.
that he showed up. Another
Bucky
good
is
one.
one of my villains. When
Bucky
he was
Bucky was good.
Bucky's just he's the perfect like your best friend turns evil. And he played it so well and so menacingly. It's just it works. And it's such a good film like otherwise. There's so many good like action sequences. There's so many good like just engaging moments in it. I think it's just one of the I wouldn't say it's one of the best, but it's my go-to watch. I
Mm.
want to watch a Marvel movie. 90% of the time it will be Winter Soldier.
It's a good one. I need to rewatch it because it's been a while since I've seen it, but I still love the movie. It's always gonna be one of my favorite Marvel movies. And it's crazy how like I consider the first Captain America to be just a very middle of the road kind of most of the time boring movie, and they went from that to one of my favorite superhero movies, and I think
Exactly.
that's crazy.
I just love the jump in it. It's such a different movie. It's such a different character too.
Yeah, and then Falcon. That's probably what you were mixing with. Falcon was also introduced in the movie
Yes.
too. I forgot about that. So another good character that they introduced.
Another beautiful character that has to do with this whole series very well. It's just everything ties. And I love On Your Left.
Hmm, the
It's just
classic.
there's iconic moments in it. And I love the sequence when Bucky jumps off of the bridge and fights Black Widow. Like it's just so cool.
Hmm. Also, I like well, this is more about Endgame, but the callback to like there was a scene in The Winter Soldier where Steve gets back to his apartment and there's a song blaring because Nick Fury is like injured in his house and he doesn't
Yes.
want to alert people, and it's the same song from the end of Endgame. It's just a little callbacks. I love all the callbacks in Endgame. It's so well done. And that's part of the reason why I like a lot of these movies even more. Like I love Ultron a lot more because of Endgame. But
It,
that's not we're not on that one yet. We got one
it
more
just
for that.
everything connects.
Mm.
It's just
And it
beautiful.
connects so well.
Exactly.
Now, Guardians of the Galaxy. I love the original. I'm putting it in between Captain America 2 and Iron Man
I think I'm gonna
because
have to agree with you.
because I I thought the humor in this movie was amazing. The soundtrack was amazing. Cinematography and characters, everything was so good. Actually, I'm gonna put it below Iron Man because it had one major flaw, and it was the villain. The
I don't
villain,
remember.
in my opinion, was terrible.
Was it what's his face with
It,
the purple?
it was, yeah, Ronan, the guy with like the blue
I don't
face with
think
black makeup.
yeah. I don't think Ronan was terrible.
I
I
didn't
think
like him. I thought he was just so expendable. That was the thing. Like he was made to be like a one time villain. I just
yeah. I
he
I
just
wish
seemed
we
like
saw
evil
more.
without a motive, you know?
Exactly. He just kind of came into play.
Yeah.
And I don't understand that like he was under Thanos or like under that kind of like idea because he basically was like a littler Thanos.
Mm,
Like that's what he reminds me of. And that's why I don't think he was like that important.
yeah. Also, no humor to the character. 0 out of 10. Honestly.
He just not even humor, it's just he wasn't like terribly scary.
Yeah.
He wasn't a villain. He was just more of a character.
Mm. Yeah, but other than that, I thought like James Gunn is one of my favorite directors, just because of like how he's able to like his sense of humor is so unique, and how he's able to meld in like the songs that he puts into his films like into the scenes, and how he makes characters that no one's ever heard of some of the best characters
Exactly.
in cinema. Like I mean, this isn't Marvel, but Peacemaker is like such a good character, all because of James Gunn, and he's a joke, and it's John Cena. So I don't. I just he has a talent, and
He
it really showed in both Guardians 1 and 2, which we'll get to
yeah.
Guardians 2 soon.
But I just remember do you remember our class when we would just listen to the Guardians of the Galaxy theme song for like weeks on end?
Yeah,
Weeks.
it's just a good soundtrack.
It's a great soundtrack. It's a great movie, like visual wise, because I think it deals with space a little more, which is cool.
Hmm.
I liked it. I liked it a lot. Like it was an immaculate movie.
So true. You know, I'm
What do you got
actually. I think I'm gonna move Avengers down a bit to
Yeah.
high above average, because Avengers Age of Ultron, I think, is probably on par with Iron Man
It's
3 for
Iron Man
me,
4.
or a little bit
I'm.
higher.
Why can I not fucking see? Am I blind?
Yeah, I just love Ultron. I love the villain. I love Ultron so much as like a character. I wish he wasn't just in the movie, because I forget. I'm trying to remember his name. I know it's something Spader, but the guy who voices and did the mocap for Ultron is like so good in the role.
There's Ultron. Vision is involved in this movie, which is
Vision is
really fun.
introduced.
Um, the twins. The whole idea that it's a whole other like Civil War kind of vibe, where like that entire area is just about to die, and they need to fucking like just go at it, or they're going to like lose all of these people. Because also he wanted to kill the whole planet.
Yeah.
He had a lot of motive and everything to be mad at.
Mm.
That's why I think he worked so well. And the fact that he's like Vision's brother too, like quote unquote brother, he it's just played really well. And I think that the directors kind of like did him justice.
Yeah. I mean, the movie had some issues, and in part of it was because the director himself was basically, to me, I felt like the director was just trying to copy what he did for the original Avengers, which worked in some aspects and didn't in some other ones.
Yeah.
But I think overall, like with all the little moments, like Cap moving the hammer, the twins getting introduced, the the character who was selling vibranium who turned out to be one of the villains in Black Panther. Like all the little things in this movie really add up, and the villain itself is a lot better than people thought at the time.
Yeah.
Because he's still menacing, but he's written in a way where where even though he's super menacing and evil, that little bit of humor that he brings to the film, it still works.
I love that. It's just, I don't know. He just brought a lot to the table. Like it opened up the world a little bit because they they learned that they were able to have those little moments where like you can have all of these characters in grace periods where they're not just fighting everything, but like the moment you said with the moving hammer and like it's just it brings more life to the characters.
Mm.
And I think that this movie kind of did that like well.
Yeah,
That's why I would put it so high.
yeah. I need to watch that one again too because it's just good. It's just so good.
Okay.
So Ant-Man, I think
Okay.
it's like low mid tier to me. I think it's just an average movie. To me, it's just a little bit better than Captain America 1 because I think because its tone is a lot more comedic than
Yeah.
that movie, and I think it works for the most part. I just think, so even though it's an origin story, so you got to have the whatever the story beats are for an origin story, so that kind of takes away from it. Um, I thought I thought the concept was cool. Obviously, the way they were able to make the shrinking work in
Mm-hmm.
the CGI, I thought visually the movie was really good. It's just the story was like kind of bland. It seemed like kind of a copy of Iron Man to me. Especially since
Yeah.
the villain was also the exact same thing as Ant-Man, just with like lasers.
It just and then didn't he go after his daughter
Yeah,
for some fucking reason?
some dumb reason. Yeah, there.
Like, that put me off. I was like, okay. I saw this movie with Matt actually, so I remember going to see it. Oh God, we saw it in um like this little church place because I didn't want to see it like in theaters when it came out originally
Yeah.
because it wasn't it was better than I expected, but nowhere near like anything that I wanted to see. Like I was expecting a little more. I think I don't know. Ant-Man to me is not like the my favorite character. I think the person that plays Ant-Man is a different story,
Paul
but
Rudd, I think he does a good job
he
as a
does. He
character.
does a great job. But like I don't like how Ant-Man looks.
Yeah.
It's just off-putting.
That's another problem with the MCU, and it's just a lot of the suits are just too complex. Like
See, I
I
think it's
understand why they wouldn't go for it, but like there are things in the MCU like Moon Knight, that's literally just how he looked in the comics, and the suit looks amazing, you know? Like I
yeah.
do like a few of the Spider-Man suits in the MCU, the more simple ones, because they work. But when he gets all the armor, like the steel and like the nanobot shit, I just like it's too much.
It's not a superhero anymore. It's added.
Yeah. But yeah, Ant-Man, it's got its issues, but it does have its moments. It's just like a middle of the road film for Marvel. Not like in general, honestly, it's probably an average film as well. But for Marvel, yeah, it's an average film.
Yeah.
Now, Civil War,
Civil War.
I'm gonna put that like just below Winter Soldier because I love that movie as well. I don't understand how they had two hits with Captain America, but the first one was just such a miss for me. I don't know. I liked. I mean, technically it's more of an Avengers film, but you know they had to have the trilogy for Captain America. But I did like how each side's motives made sense. You know, you had Iron Man's team, which were like, you know, in Age of Ultron, we fucked up. We need to hold ourselves accountable. And you know, Captain America literally going against what he thought back in during the war, that you know the government. This is not like the government's role. They shouldn't be controlling us. You know,
Yeah,
I like how his character flipped as well, like in the three movies, and it really shows in this one how much he's grown as a character.
he becomes more human. Like part of Cap is like he wasn't able to live. He because he was stuck in the ice, he was forced to not like be a normal character. He didn't get those experiences.
Mm.
I think it's more shown in this film. I think just being able to like have all of the characters combined and then go against each other was also like cool as fuck. Because we don't get to see that all the time.
Yeah, and there
You
was no
wouldn't
like
expect.
true winners or losers in this film either.
No,
Everyone lost.
literally exactly. There was just a whole bunch of superheroes beating the shit out of each other, which who wouldn't want to see that?
I also like the implications it had for, you know, a few like the Avengers movies, both Infinity War and Endgame. This movie had implications in those, and
Yeah,
I thought that was pretty nice how they were able to kind of keep that like feud going a little bit. And also Spider-Man was introduced, which I think honestly I think Spider-Man in the MCU is just another middle of the road character. I don't think the MCU does it Spider-Man justice, but I thought in this movie he was pretty good in this movie for an
yeah.
introduction, because it was, you know, he acted like Spider-Man. Like he wasn't super techy. He just had this like I mean, sure he had a suit from Stark, but it wasn't super techy. It was still pretty baseline Spider-Man, which was pretty nice to see. Though I didn't like how they spoiled that in the trailers. I kind of wish they didn't do that, but I guess that made people go see the movie. Oh, hi Mark. Oh, hi Mark. But yeah, you got any more thoughts on the movie? I think he's muted. We'll give him a minute. Oh,
Yes. Give me 2 minutes.
alright. So actually, I'm gonna put the music back on because I don't think I'm gonna edit this. So let me put some music on for you fellas. I'll put it in the background. I don't know why I turned it off earlier, but we'll listen to some Mario. I think that probably sounds good. Shut up, Mark. I know exactly what I'm talking about. I'm like 20 times smarter than you when it comes to films. You know, I appreciate Batman for the cinematography, not because it's just a Batman movie. Actually, I should rank Batman movies too. Though I need to see like the George Clooney ones at some point. I haven't seen those ones because I refuse to. But I think if I'm gonna do a Batman tier list, I should. No, I'll turn this down. It's still a little loud. Boop, 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 boop. Mother of Christ Almighty! Can we not have? Can... Bro. Bro, I love the porn bots. The porn bots are awesome, man. There's nothing I can do. They're just gonna have to stay there. Oh, hide user on this channel. Why have I not done that? Bro, I'm really dumb. They're going in a timeout. I love the porn bots. They're awesome.
Sorry about that.
Nah, you're good.
Mom came in.
Ah, makes sense.
I'm back though.
Anything more to say about Civil War, or you think we should move on?
I really like the individual scenes too.
Like the character moments?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, those are done well.
I think everything was done well in that movie. It was a solid film.
Plus, the Russo brothers, I think they didn't have a single miss when they did a Marvel movie. Because they did both the Captain America 2 and 3. They did the last 2 Avengers films. I don't think they did any more, though. I think it was just those. But they did amazing with those.
Yeah. What's next?
Everyone's favorite Doctor Strange, which I am gonna put above Iron Man, but below Civil War.
Okay. Why?
That's a good. I feel like you don't agree with me here.
No, I think I love Doctor Strange. I love him as a character. I love the fighting sequence. I don't know if I like the villain in Doctor Strange.
I was thinking about that as you were going through the things, and you know what? It's gonna go there. There's too many in Almost Immaculate. We're gonna move some of them to here. I think Doctor Strange should be the baseline for Almost Immaculate, like the lowest one there.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
Because I love the character. I think Benedict Cumberbatch not only looks the part, but he plays the character super well. A lot of the actors in this universe do play their characters so good, and I can't imagine anyone else playing some of them. And Doctor Strange is like him and Robert Downey Jr. are like the 2 big ones that I think of.
The 2 iconic ones, yeah.
And I like I just like the character development. Like he started off as this like really like self-absorbed surgeon, but when he like gets in that car crash, loses his hands, he becomes like super desperate. And then towards the end, he's like he like says stuff. He like thinks about the reason he became a doctor, to help save people, not kill them. And it's just the character development is so good, and he actually becomes a compassionate, like, selfless person towards the end, or not completely selfless, but more selfless,
more aware.
Yeah.
Oh dear. I think I love the scenes in Doctor Strange. I love the characters in Doctor Strange. I just love where it went. Like with the character, because he was able to go to like multiple movies and then just be able to like. He literally is the time god.
So true.
I think in this movie, you kind of get like the sense of that, but it leaves you on edge for the character development. Yeah, it was perfect that he like went from Doctor to literally Doctor Strange. But being Doctor Strange in this film and any other film is like a big gap too. I think you can't really forget about that. So like, yeah, this movie was really fucking good, and it showed a lot of like his like good qualities, but also shows how much he has potential to grow. Just as like a character, as a base character.
Yeah. And the thing is, like, all of his appearances in the other films are still really good.
So like the fact that there's this whole movie about him, and then he's able to jump into these other movies, just shows how good of a character he is.
And he's so important in a lot of them. Like, a lot more important than any of, like, the newer characters that showed up in the Avengers movies.
Exactly.
It's just, it's to me, it's like, we'll get to Multiverse of Madness, unless you want to leave before I start talking about it, but it is a shame. It is a shame that that Multiverse of Madness was, like, just such a disappointment compared to the first one, because it's like the exact opposite of the Captain America situation for me, and I'll talk about that more later, but it's just a shame. Now, Guardians 2, I honestly would put it like, actually, like, almost on par with, but a little bit above the original.
That's what Team Group.
Yeah, no, that's with Baby Groot.
Oh, yes, I agree with you.
I just think it's all the good stuff from the first one, but because these characters are already developed, they're just automatically they work better together. And then the villain is also a major improvement. I thought Ego was much better than Ronan in many ways. It actually, like, his motives he had motives, and they made sense. And, you know, I don't really know how I feel about the whole Peter Quill being part Celestial thing, but because, you know, Ego ends up dying at the end. Spoilers for people who haven't seen this movie in, like, the 6 or 7 years it's been a thing. But you know, they get rid of that pretty quickly once Ego dies, which I'm completely fine with. It was just something they added to the movie just to add a little bit of there's some character moments, really. That's why they added it.
Just a little extra.
Yeah. I also just it's kind of like a similar thing to Civil War, but on a much smaller scale, when, like, Star-Lord and Rocket are just, like, mad at each other for, like, half of the movie. But, you know, they're brought back together because of Yondu's death at the end. And I thought Yondu's death was done really well as well. For a character that I didn't really think was anything special in the first one, they really improved him in the second one.
Exactly. He came back, like, as a whole different character. It was just a really cool, like, holy fuck moment. I mean, granted, it was really fucking sad. But at the same time, he was just done really well.
Yeah. Just a solid film overall. Again, soundtrack was amazing, and the humor was top notch in this one as well. But yeah,
I love the beginning scene of Guardians of the Galaxy is always going to be iconic to me.
it's a good opening scene. It's amazing. Plus, who doesn't like Baby Groot? Everyone loves Baby Groot.
Who doesn't? Everyone. Who the fuck?
All right. So I think this is, what phase is this? I think this is phase. I think we're on to phase 3. I'm trying to remember what phase we're on. But Spider-Man: Homecoming, I would say it's above average, probably above Iron Man 2. But that's not, and I think the reason this movie shines is probably more from the villain than Spider-Man himself, because I think, in my opinion, Tom Holland's Spider-Man has been, like, my least favorite of the 3, not because he's bad or anything, it's just because, well, part of it has to do with the Tony Stark stuff, the fact that he's literally he's got all this technology, his suit isn't homemade, he's not struggling like the original character did with, like, his rent and, like, actual stuff that he needs to worry about. This is a lot more of, like, I'll be a little goofy guy, a little goofy Spider-Man, and do funny things. But there are moments in this film that this character really shines, like there's a scene when the villain is dropping Peter off with his date to like prom or something, and Michael Keaton does an amazing job as Vulture. I loved the Vulture, and the scene of him threatening Peter in the back of the Vulture's car right before the prom was like one of the most suspenseful scenes in most of the MCU. Not many scenes in the MCU come close to that much suspense for me, and it was just a short conversation in a car.
I think. See, and I was getting this confused with Far From Home, but Homecoming allowed Tom Holland to become the character that he is. I think it just played him really fucking well. And he took Spider-Man, which is a very known character, and kind of made it his own.
Yeah.
I'm not saying he's like the best Spider-Man, and clearly he's not, but he made it something that it wasn't. It wasn't always this like character that has money and stuff and can actually like support, but like I just think he's a really good like it's a really good beginning to Spider-Man.
Yeah.
I really like the villain, and I love like, the little scenes. I remember, if I'm remembering this correctly, when he gets like dragged on the beach.
Yeah.
Like, that scene was crazy to me.
Yeah.
I just remember watching. Ned was also like a great character. I thought it just brought a lot of good characters. It brought MJ to life. It just
Yeah, Ned's pretty hot. I like him too.
he is pretty hot. He's
The CEO of sex.
It's just a great fucking. It's a solid movie. I'd watch it a lot.
Yeah, I actually haven't seen it since I first watched it in theaters. It's because it's like not on any streaming services that I own, so I just haven't been able to watch it.
I can agree.
But I remember liking it.
It was a good movie. I don't know if I watch it like over. See, I would watch it over Spider-Man. What is that, 2 or 3?
Spider-Man 3, not 2. Not 2.
No, Iron Man.
Oh, Iron Man. Iron Man 2, yeah. I'd watch it over Iron Man 2. But also it has a little bit more Iron Man in it for people who wanted to see more Iron Man. So that was also kind of nice. Though I feel like this Spider-Man relied too much on Iron Man, which is one of the biggest problems I have with the character. That he does. There are like Far From Home. He doesn't feel like his own character, especially with the whole. Actually, no. We'll talk about that when we get there. Still a good movie though. So Thor Ragnarok. I know it's definitely. I honestly put it below Guardians. I do think it's one of the MCU's best ones, but personally, I would put it below Guardians.
Really? See, I don't want to say it, but I almost would put it above Iron Man.
Above Iron Man.
I think it changes Thor.
Yeah, well, we'll put it in between Iron Man and Guardians too. Little middle ground there. But I don't know. I liked the movie. I don't know what it was, but I don't know. I just didn't like it as much as Guardians. To me, it felt like a Guardians of the Galaxy for Thor fans. That's what it felt to me. That's how I describe it. It's just like a Thor version of Guardians of the Galaxy. But I mean, I liked some of the things. Like I liked the Hulk in the movie and Loki. Um they had a little bit of like Planet Hulk, like that's one of the comic storylines. I like that aspect. And Jeff Goldblum's always a plus. You can't go wrong with Jeff Goldblum. And yeah, Loki was improved quite a lot. But I just thought I don't know, the villain felt generic to me. But I know that the movie wasn't really relying too heavily on the villain. It was supposed to be more of just a fun movie. But there were quite a lot of scenes with the villain and Carl Urban as this like executioner guy. Um
Are we still on Ragnarok?
yeah, you wanna say some things?
I think it changed Hulk. It changed Thor. I think their fight was beautiful. Um, I, Valkyrie's an okay character. She's alright. Um, but I like that it also like I don't know. He changes up his look, but he also like it talks about him losing himself, which a lot of people deal with. And like I think that it just played it really well, and for a superhero to do that was a whole different story. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I see what you're
Like
saying.
it was a really relatable film, but also at the same time, like it was just a really cool film to watch.
Hmm. I mean, it is visually the movie's really really good.
Visually, it's awesome. It's a great fucking movie.
Yeah, there's not much to hate about it. It's just I don't know. It's hard for me to figure out whether I would prefer to watch Ragnarok or Guardians 2. I just don't know.
Hmm.
To me, I
Alright.
feel like they're on the same tier.
Yeah, I wish you could put them like half and half because I think they are basically the same tier.
Yeah.
There's not much like bad about them.
All right, so Black Panther. I think I'm debating whether I put it in high mid tier or like low above average. Because
I
I
think
did think this movie was pretty average. The villain was great. I loved the villain, but not much else. I'll put it here.
I love the villain. You know my opinion
I
about
know you
Killmonger.
love the villain.
Killmonger is one of the coolest villains I think in the MCU. I think what was it, Michael Jordan?
Yeah, not the basketball player.
Not the basketball player, but he played it so fucking well. He was the most intimidating character for me.
Mm.
I remember I saw this movie in DC. Um, why? Because we were learning about fucking just like the cultural aspects of it. But Black Panther is a sick fucking character. I don't really like his like sister all that much. Like I
She's a
think
little cocky.
she's cocky and like she's a great fucking character. Like good for her that she's smart as fuck. But she doesn't need to be there.
Yeah.
Like I think that like just Black Panther himself is just a great character. It was just unnecessary for her to be there. But like
I
I
also
love the music.
the music was
It
good.
was it
I'll
was
agree with you
a
there.
different film. It's just a different film. It doesn't feel like it's an MCU film.
Yeah. I just to me the actual character of Black Panther in this movie was just really average to me, and I don't know why. It has nothing to do with Chadwick Boseman because I think he did a good job as the character. I just thought the way he was written was just pretty average. I don't know if that's just
Yeah.
me.
He I want to say it was like it was just off-putting, like how he was written. But at the same time, it was like it was well played.
Mm.
He just like I couldn't. I don't know, and it's really sad because Chadwick's gone.
Yeah. I would have
But I
loved
don't
to see
see
him in a sequel, though. I would have loved
I
to
don't
see a
see
Black Panther 2 with him in it.
exactly because I liked the movie.
Because,
I enjoyed it.
the thing is with Marvel movies is that, sure, for the most part, the introductory movies are pretty good. But then, for the most part, like, sequels or any... I swear to God, I got another porn bot on my fucking stream. Anyway, um...
What are you
I
doing,
just
frog?
like
Why you want?
I shut the fuck up. But like, I thought that his movie was okay. I thought him in the movie was okay, but a lot of his other appearances were like really fun. I liked seeing him in Infinity War and Endgame a lot. I loved seeing him in Civil War, and I would have like loved after the initial development from Civil War and Black Panther. I would have loved to see him in a another movie where they wouldn't have to focus so much on his development and actually have maybe a much more emotional story with him in it.
I could see that. I feel like with this, I feel like this was a really emotional story on the villain's part,
Yeah. That's why I like
and
the villains so much.
that's why I like the villain so much. It's because you feel for him. You know my opinion. I think he should have been, but fucking, it just so happened that Black Panther, like, I don't know, their fights were good. I think the fact that they got to fight twice was a little weird to me,
Mm.
because he literally fucked them up. But there was just it was a above average Marvel movie.
Yeah.
Like I would describe it as that.
Yeah. It's really solid. I have another one I have to rewatch because I haven't seen it in a while. But now, I think we can officially say we're gonna put the first one in the top tier with Avengers: Infinity War. Like,
It's
it's just such a good movie. And sure, it doesn't have as much rewatch value as a lot of the other movies in this universe, but just that initial viewing was so good. Thanos was such a good villain in this. Josh Brolin and the Russo brothers really took this pretty average but menacing Marvel villain from the comics and made him, in my opinion, the best in the whole universe.
I think he's the most menacing.
Yeah.
Killmonger to me is one of like the best, just because he is who he is. I like the face of Killmonger. But Thanos, when Thanos literally went on screen, I got chills every time because I was afraid of him. It was the first Marvel film where I felt like some sort of feeling towards the villain. You know what I mean? Like he's literally just going in there and fucking up everyone that we just built our entire like basis around.
Yeah. And like sure there were some movies like Guardians of the Galaxy 1 and 2 where there were already villains that were hell-bent on destroying the universe, but this felt different. This was like completely different. Not, and I feel like part of it is because like all the characters that we've seen are now all together in this film, but just like sure Ronan had whatever motives and Ego was kind of whatever, but Thanos's motives had logic to it.
Exactly. It's not even that it had logic, it's that it was different. This man wanted to fucking take out people. And like,
but it was for his own like twisted version of like
wait,
equality.
it was his own mindset. And
And it came from past trauma as well, like um his whole
his
species
whole
basically
world,
getting eradicated just because they were not careful.
just because they weren't like Thanos as a character is just top tier. Like it was played really well. He just brought this like I don't want to use this word, but he brought this vibe to him where he was on the screen and you felt it. You felt his presence. You knew he was there. I think that you don't really get that with a lot of characters. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I
But
don't think many things will be able to match the like the feeling of being in the theater and seeing like Thanos with the axe in his chest. Like when I was watching it, I knew that he was gonna do it. I knew he was gonna snap because Thor was a little too hell bent on making him suffer that he didn't realize that he could still use his arm. And just that feeling I feel like that everyone had in the theater after he snapped is like it's gonna be unmatched for years to come. That sort of fear
you
of who is gonna
don't even
die.
think that we can match it.
Marvel's not gonna be able to top it again. I can tell you that.
No, not at all. And I love the fights. I love the characters. I love Squidward and fucking Gargoyle motherfucker. And the chick. I think they're all badass. Captain America has a whole different look. They all just look different. They look older. But it works so well. It's just a beautiful fucking film. And
Mm.
if someone were to come up to me and be like, I want to start Marvel, like this is this is where I want to get into, I'd be like, just you wait for this part. Just you wait. It's kind of similar how like you're watching Demon Slayer now. I'm saying just you wait for parts because it gets better. This is the better in Marvel.
Mm.
Like this is like the top tier of top tier. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And you know, jokes aside, memes aside, Tom Holland handled Spider-Man's death so well.
I
That
think they
was
called it.
that was still one of the most shocking deaths I've ever seen in a movie or a show in a long time.
And the fact that Iron Man like blamed himself for it.
I mean, Spider-Man was the whole reason Endgame happened, so
Yeah.
but yeah, just that scene alone, definitely one of Tom Holland's best moments in the MCU. I could talk for hours about this movie, but I would
I
first
could
I
too.
need to see it again, and second, I feel like we should move on. So, Ant-Man and the Wasp has its
Eh,
moments,
it has its moments. It's
but
okay.
like two moments. It's definitely better than the Dark World, for sure. You know what? No, it's going in here. It's going there. It's just better than the Dark World. It's just not very special to me. It's just I don't remember much about it as well. I mean, what was even the villain in this one? Do you remember? Because I don't.
There was a villain.
Was there not?
I don't fucking know. I thought the villain was Time.
Maybe, I don't know. I don't have high hopes for the next Ant-Man. And it's a shame because Kang is supposed to be the villain in that one. Which is probably the next Thanos, so hopefully they do something with that. Captain Marvel. Definitely better than the Dark World, but not by much to me. What?
Captain Marvel was an okay movie.
I I,
I
I
don't
didn't
know if
like
I
it. I'm
would
not
like.
gonna lie.
I don't the villains. I don't like I like her. She's a cool character. But I don't like the villains or like any of the plot.
Actually, I would put Captain Marvel a little higher, just because I think the movie was okay, and her character in that movie was okay, but every other appearance she has had, I've hated.
Yeah.
Like like, sure, this is this is a character that is like the perfect example of how not to write a strong, independent character that's like a woman or a different like race or whatever, because she's she's like a lot of her character is I'm a strong independent woman, and that's not good. That's not how you should write a character,
No.
because then you have like I forget what the word is, but the one word I can think of is you have an objective to this movie. You're trying to push some agenda, which like like the movie
Black
itself.
tried to do that.
I don't think Black Panther was
It didn't
trying to do that, and if it was,
it didn't
then
hit
it
me.
didn't even affect me, because it's a good movie,
Yeah,
because it was written well.
it is.
There might have
Whereas
been an
this
agenda, but
one,
I didn't know. But this movie had an agenda,
and it made it
especially
known.
especially in the promotional material,
Yeah,
and that really
and
took away
the
from the
fact
movie
that
for me.
the fact that like you watch it and you're like, oh, yeah, she's powerful as fuck. But like, we already know. You don't need to tell us every 4 seconds that she can kill everyone.
Yeah, I'm very happy that she got overpowered by Thanos in Endgame, because that would have not been fun if she was the one to take him down. And speaking of Endgame, let's talk about Endgame and how it is. Probably I'd put it under Civil War, because it was definitely one of the best theater experiences I've ever had. But it's not as good of a move. It's not as good as like it's not as well written as the other stuff the Russo brothers have done, which I'm noticing now that the top four are all Russo brothers. They're all Russo brothers films, which kind of says something. I thought Endgame
I
was good, but not as good upon rewatching.
I can agree with that. I think as a first time experience, it's better than Civil War. But
Yeah.
as a rewatch, it's not. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And when I rewatched it, like sure, the movie was made like half the movie's reason for existence was fan service. Like I'm not going to deny that. But there's so much of it that the more you rewatch it, the more annoying it gets. At least for me. And also they kind of ruined Thanos in this one.
I don't know if they ruined Thanos, but they made him less powerful, less menacing.
I think they just made the character worse. I get that it was like 4 years or something. He's like 4 years younger or something, but he wasn't as smart as he was in the in Infinity War. He was just a big brute this time.
Yeah,
And I feel
but
like because there was just so much going on in the movie that I understand why they did that with his character. It's just I kind of wish they didn't.
I like that they made it so that it was like, oh god. I like that Thor, Iron Man, and Captain America were like the last like stopping power at
Yeah.
that moment. I love that scene. I love the visuals in this movie are great. It's just it's not one of the top. It's not.
Yeah.
It's just there. It's there to be there. It's there to bring all the questions that we had from Infinity War to a close.
Yeah. And
I think it did it well.
and Iron Man's like Iron Man and Captain America, more Iron Man, but their like final moments in the universe were really well done. It was it was a nice way to honor the characters, especially Iron Man.
Especially Iron Man. I think Captain America. Even I wish they did more. I mean, they did. They had the whole scene at the end. But
But in comparison to Iron Man, it wasn't as to me it wasn't as impactful.
It wasn't heartfelt.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't like you were losing Captain America. It was just like, oh, Captain America's young.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I mean, it's still. I was upset when I saw him as an old dude sitting on that rock or whatever it was.
I was too. I felt for him, but at least he like.
It was a nice. The ending was
nice.
What
he wanted, whereas Tony Stark didn't. Tony Stark did not at all.
Yeah. Well, I mean Tony Stark actually did, because his entire goal was to bring everybody back while also keep making sure that his kid was still alive, and he did get that. He just didn't get to live with his family anymore. But like the thing is, like, Iron Man had everything he wanted before then, and in a way Captain America didn't have a lot.
Yeah.
And he got what he wanted at the end. And that's why his end was impactful as well. Just I feel like not as much as, this character that we've known for like 11 years dying off.
Mm-hmm.
Because like you said, there's no real conclusive end to Captain America really until Falcon and the Winter Soldier, but that doesn't mean he can't come back, but he probably won't.
He probably won't. Exactly.
Yeah. Another movie I could talk about for ages. Hell, I might make a podcast where I talk about Marvel movies. Or at least have an episode where I talk about Marvel movies. But anyway, Far From Home is another average Marvel movie. It's good. But after rewatching it, I don't think it's as good as Homecoming. And I do think it's above Ant-Man. I liked the action. I liked the villain. I liked the visuals. But overall, like, in the grand scheme of things, I don't really think this plot matters too much. It like,
doesn't.
And also the fact that there's all this talk about Iron Man. That was another thing that I didn't like. There was such a reliance on that bond with Iron Man that he had. That was just a big part of the film. And I feel like it took a little too much from the film.
I really like this movie.
Yeah,
I like the visuals in it. I like the villain is really fucking cool. I like that he uses technology for it, but the idea of him is really fucking cool. And the fact that, like, it's just Spider-Man figuring this shit out.
Yeah. I do think
it was a really big villain for just Spider-Man.
Yeah. I will say the Spider-Man movies have not missed when it comes to their villains. They have not.
No.
But the character himself of Spider-Man has been a mixed bag for me.
Personally, I would watch this over the first one. That's just because it adds more.
Yeah.
And people
I would just need to see Homecoming again, because I've seen Far From Home recently. I just haven't seen Homecoming in a while. I just remember I liked it more than Far From Home at the time, but I would need to rewatch both of them. Here, I'm actually gonna adjust a few of these. Yeah, I'm gonna actually move Iron Man 2 down to here. Alright, so Black Widow. Just like Twitter, I have mixed opinions on this, and I don't think it's very good.
I haven't even seen it, if I'm being honest.
It was just really boring. And parts of it made it seem like it also had an agenda like Captain Marvel. Marketing as well. And there were some parts that were cool. I liked the sister. I liked the Red Guardian, played by the guy who plays the cop in Stranger Things. I thought he was pretty cool. But overall, it's a pretty forgettable film because I can't really remember not only the sequence of events, but also just what even happened. Taskmaster was an awful waste of a character. I don't know how they went from this, like, mercenary who is, like, just has, like, photographic memory, like, to this former Black Widow who is now, like, half android or some shit, and that's why she has the photographic memory. I just don't understand how they went from that, and why they would waste the character on a Black Widow movie of all things. Because I've watched quite a lot of I think it was Ultimate Spider-Man. I don't remember what animated show had Taskmaster as the villain, but I watched that show and I really liked that character there, and I've seen him quite a few times in the comics and also in the Spider-Man video game. But to see what they did to the character, like, it's not just that it's a girl now. I don't really care, but it's how they completely changed the origin just to work it into a plot about Black Widow of all characters. Like, it could have made an original character for all I cared. Just Taskmaster was not the pick for this movie. That's my biggest issue with it. That, and it's just boring.
Boring.
I mean, I wouldn't recommend it.
Like, watch the paint dry.
Like, I thought, like, I liked her as a character. Like, throughout the movies. Like, but this movie doesn't do her justice. Really doesn't. It exists to set up the sister for other things like Hawkeye, like the show Hawkeye, and whatever they're gonna do with her and U.S. Agent, which I'll get to as well. But yeah, just not anything special in my opinion. But how about from one thing to another that isn't special? Eternals is one of the worst movies I've ever seen. It's definitely down there with my least favorite movies of all time because it is 3 hours of nothing.
I don't even know what happens.
I don't either. All I know is that, like, 30 minutes in, I was like, wow, okay, that's interesting character development, weird, like, twists and whatnot. It's crazy that this guy killed this other person. And then I look at the time and it's like, oh, I still have over 2 hours left.
God damn.
And
why was it a 3-hour movie?
I don't know. The only thing that actually changed in the movie was that a celestial was frozen. It was, like, in the earth and it was going to emerge. So, like, one of them like froze it and turned it into, like, stone. And now there's just, like, a giant celestial head on Earth somewhere. And also half the Eternals, like, dead or something. I don't know. It's pointless. And then at the end, they tease a character called Black Knight, which is a good character, but bad movie to introduce him in. Harry Styles is Thanos' brother. And I think Danny DeVito plays an elf. I don't think it's Danny DeVito. I don't know who it is. But he plays, like... There's a character that's, like...
Harry Styles is a Marvel character?
Yeah, he plays Thanos' brother.
What the fuck?
It's awful. The movie is awful, and I do not recommend it. Because it's just 30 minutes of wasted time. Because I watched it... I think April, like early April, when I had nothing to do. I had like no work. I was just bored out of my mind. So I'm like, this movie's on Disney Plus. Let's watch it. And it was the worst 3 hours I had spent in college. And that's something.
That's understandable. I just
and
have a
and
fucking-
and honestly, this movie is kind of where I really realize that I am getting tired of Marvel movies. I'm starting to feel the fatigue that everyone else was talking about back when, like, right after Infinity War came out. And Shang-Chi, you know what? Shang-Chi was a nice change of pace for me. I would say Shang-Chi is... Honestly, I think it's above Age of Ultron. It's like high above average. I just thought it was really entertaining. The action was nice. Visually, it's stunning. And the father character being the villain was so good.
I just had a bug crawl out of my fucking ear.
Ugh, what do you mean?
I don't know, I think it was like a spider and I fucking flung it.
Oh, that's awful.
It's disgusting. I don't know where the fuck it went. It's scary. I don't know. Whatever.
Any opinions on Shang-Chi?
I haven't seen it.
You
There's a
haven't?
lot of...
Were you not?
No.
You weren't there when we went to watch it?
No.
Oh. Well, you should watch it. It's really good. It's like
I don't know
it's
what
one
it's
of Marvel's best origin movies.
Does it have anything to do with Doctor Strange, or is it just him?
No, it's just Shang-Chi.
It's just Shang-Chi?
Yeah.
It's pretty
Oh, well,
fucking
I mean,
cool.
Wong shows up. Everyone loves Wong. But other than that, no, it's just pretty standard origin story. Not too many ties to the MCU, which was nice. So, yeah, just pretty entertaining movie overall. I'd recommend you watch it, Jake, because it is really good. I think you'd like it.
What's it about? Describe it.
It's like I think it's Chinese. I really hope it's Chinese. But it's basically the real Mandarin is the villain in this movie. Well, like he took on the title after the whole situation in Iron Man 3. So he just like, you know what, screw it, I'll just take that name or something like that. And basically he has these like 10 rings, like these powerful artifacts. And basically their mother died, like his wife died, and demons are trying to get him to open some demon portal that are full of these creatures that just eat people's souls. So basically the father calls Shang-Chi to their home after years to help bring the mother back. And he and his sister don't believe that it's true because it's not. They run into the old Mandarin. They go and try to go to this village that's guarding the portal. And there's this big fight scene after a bunch of people's souls are sucked. Father and son fight. Father ends up getting his soul sucked. And I'm trying to think. And there's a big dragon. But the character development is awesome. I love Shang-Chi as a character. Action is insane. The only issue I have with it is the female best friend character, played by this really awful actress, Awkwafina. Which, that's a bottle of water. That's not... But yeah, good movie. Oh.
Sorry, I'm moving my chair.
Alright.
What's next?
WandaVision.
Okay.
I
It was
think
enjoyable.
it was definitely better than Ant-Man and Iron Man 2 for me. Actually, it's like high end of mid tier. It's just because I thought the first like 5 or 6 episodes
I
were
don't
pretty
think it's
good.
above Far From Home though.
I don't know. I just yeah, you're probably right. I'll move it down. You're right. You're right. I think the first 5 or 6 episodes, when it was just about the TV stuff, was really good. But then once they got to the basic MCU stuff, it really lost me. Like obviously they had to tie it back to everything, but it just lost me because it just became average Marvel nonsense yet again.
Yeah.
And it's a shame because the first 3 episodes were like some of my favorite of any MCU show.
It just it had a great fucking hook.
And they kind of ruined it a
It
little
got me
bit.
thinking.
Yeah.
Like, it really got me thinking.
And I feel like it also doesn't have as much rewatch value just because it the hook is mystery, right? What is going on? Why is it happening? But you know, at the end of the show, they explicitly tell you what's going on. So at that point, like, there's not much rewatch value to it. But I will say I was hooked up until like episode 6 or 7, and that's not bad for their first show where they had to put like 7 or 8 hours of like it's like a 7 or 8 hour movie basically, and their ability to make it like pretty consistently entertaining for that long and actually have something unique that was so mysterious, so suspenseful, that worked really well in the context of the greater MCU while also being super unique. I just thought as their first show on Disney Plus, it was really really good. But again, not too much rewatch value from it. It actually gets worse when you rewatch it, in my opinion. Here, I'm gonna rank Falcon and the Winter Soldier real quick. And honestly, this show is my least favorite Marvel show, and I'm gonna put it there. No, I'm gonna put it here. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was just pretty boring overall. It had its moments, like the last episode I think was the best one in the series when he became like Captain America and he had the shield and the wings. I thought that shit was really cool. But the villains, like the terrorist group, wasn't that fun. Not fun. It wasn't that entertaining or intriguing. Zemo was okay. I didn't really know why they brought him back. I still don't know why they brought him back. And, you know, Bucky was still pretty good, but I thought Falcon was not as good as he was in the other movies. I don't know.
Yeah, Bucky, he lost his like touch. I don't know. He wasn't the same character. He was just more Cap's friend again.
Yeah. I mean, there was like, I think a scene or two of him like back in Wakanda, I think, in that show. And those were pretty good scenes, those emotional ones. But other than that, I don't think the characters themselves were super entertaining. But I did like the new Captain America. Well, I think his name was like John Walker or something. I thought he was pretty. He wasn't the best, but I thought he was pretty good for what they were trying to go for. To me, I kind of got like, not as extreme, but I got like The Boys vibes from him.
Yeah.
And I liked how brutal he became. Kind of showing that, you know, the Captain America mantle is not something you could just give to anybody, because people will abuse that power like he did. Like getting like this the scene of him getting blood on the shield was in my opinion the best scene in that show, just because of how shocking it was. Yeah, and also that was like the first time it had ever been on the Shield, so that was another thing.
Imagine being the fastest ninja in the world.
I'm sorry. Man's spitting right now. I feel like I'm just gonna quickly go through the rest of the shows, because I don't.
haven't watched.
Which ones haven't you watched?
What is that, Loki?
We got Loki, What If, Hawkeye, Moon Knight. I know
Yeah,
you
I've
haven't
only
watched
watched-
Moon Knight.
I've only watched Hawkeye and the first episode of Loki.
Okay. So honestly, Loki is probably my favorite of the shows.
Really?
I would put it in, because I rewatched it recently, and it's actually better upon rewatching, at least for me. I would put Loki above Shang-Chi. I don't want to put it in almost immaculate because it has some problems, but I didn't hate a single character in the show. I thought the plot was unique, even more unique than WandaVision, but unlike WandaVision, they actually stuck with it the entire time. And I thought because it was probably they had a much easier time writing the show and making it actually good because Loki was an already beloved character. The only issue I had, well, not the only, but one of the issues I had with the show is that he went from 2012 Loki to modern day Loki way too quickly. He became too similar to like Ragnarok Loki, like within an episode, and I didn't understand that because in 2012 he was hell-bent on like killing people and taking over the world, but by episode 2 of Loki his view had completely changed and he was back to the funny kooky little guy that he was in Ragnarok. Like I don't have a big problem with it because it made the show more entertaining, but it just the timeline didn't make sense to me. But I did like the variant Loki. Sylvie, she was pretty good. Good new character, which her motives were pretty good too. Lightning McQueen was pretty good. He was just like a meh character. But, you know, I liked him at the end. I hope he comes back at some point. Well, he will in this season 2. But most of the characters were pretty good. The reveal of Kang and the multiverse was also really well done. I thought the second to last episode like was one of the best, just with all the different variant Lokis, Alioth, the big cloud monster, and then them revealing Kang's hideout was really cool. But the last episode was just kind of boring. It was a lot of dialogue and a lot of just walking and talking. And it kind of lost me up until the end with the reveal of like the multiverse, which was well done as well. I would say overall Loki it's probably my favorite MCU show. But it's probably because Loki was already a well-known character, well-developed, so it wasn't really hard. They didn't have to do origin stories and whatnot, which they had to do for which they definitely had to do for like certain like a bunch of characters in WandaVision and Falcon. Like there was only like one character that they really had to explain in Loki, and that made it a little more entertaining because they got right into the plot. What If is a middle of the road show, lower middle of the road, because it has like 3 episodes that I adore, but the rest of them are just okay. I like the concept of the show, and I don't know if it's getting a season 2, but I hope it is, because I just like seeing the different versions of characters. Like Star-Lord T'Challa was pretty good. That's like, I think that might be my favorite episode. The team up episode at the end was really fun and goofy. Ultron like breaking into the multiverse, trying to kill every universe was pretty cool. But yeah, overall it's a pretty average Marvel show. And I think same goes for Hawkeye. I would put it below WandaVision, above Iron Man 2. It had the same. It kind of similar to Loki, since Hawkeye was already a well-known character, and they only really had to introduce one character. I thought that since the plot kind of got into it right away, it worked really well. I thought Kate Bishop. I don't know the actress's name, but I thought whoever played Kate Bishop, I like her a lot as Kate Bishop. She's really good. And just that reveal at the end with Kingpin, it was awesome, man. It was so great to see Vincent D'Onofrio back as Kingpin, because I love Daredevil. It's such a good show, and I'm so happy they tied it in. That was like one of the main reasons I was watching Hawkeyes, because it's like I saw the trailers and I'm like, they're definitely gonna bring in some street level thugs, so I feel like Kingpin's got a chance. And thank God that came to be, because it was awesome to see him revealed.
I don't know. I just liked the movie. I watched it during winter break, I think. My dad, and it was just a really enjoyable show to watch. I was anticipating the next episode because I wanted to know what would happen. I wanted to see where it was going.
Plus, this made me like Hawkeye even more.
Yeah,
I've always liked Hawkeye. I think he gets too much shit, but this show really made me like him as a character.
Mm-hmm.
And I initially, for the end of the show, when Echo shot Kingpin, I was like, I knew he wasn't gonna die, but I wasn't sure. Come to find out that there is actually a storyline where I don't know if it's Echo, but it's some character shoots him in the face and all it does is take out his eye. So hopefully he does come back, because I want to see him come back. I want more Daredevil. I want more Daredevil stuff. Now, Moon Knight, I know you haven't seen it, Jake. Actually, I kind of liked it more than... Honestly, I would say... I would put it above Spider-Man Homecoming, below Avengers. And it wasn't... I think the biggest thing for me, I noticed this like when I was done with the show, but this show does not tie in to the MCU at all. There is no mention of any other character, any event, not even the snap is mentioned. Really? It was just, it gave me Daredevil vibes, not in the sense that it was the same tonally, but in like that you knew it had to do with the MCU, but they never explicitly said anything. And because of it, they just let the characters shine on their own. Also, I love the dynamic between Steven and Mark, especially how Oscar Isaac is able to pull it off. I think he did a really good job at adapting a character with DID into the MCU. And come to find, like, I did some research on the actual disorder myself, and from what I read, the show actually does an amazing job at actually showing what it's like. So that was pretty cool. And just overall, the Egyptian stuff, like the Egyptian gods, the Egyptian afterlife, and then like
36 frat brothers arrested for
who's arrested?
46 frat brothers.
God motherfucking damn. But the last 2 episodes of this show were really good. Maybe actually last 3 were really good. I like how they tackled Steven's origin story and how he grew up in like a very abusive household, and how Mark created Steven as a coping mechanism. And I just thought everything about the plot was amazing. all of the cast was really good. Ethan Hawke as the main villain was really, really good. He was menacing, but not because he was scary, but because he seemed like he had everything in order. And, you know, the whole big CGI fights were okay, but I just liked the little character moments between Ethan Hawke and Oscar Isaac's characters, because Oscar Isaac again does an amazing job as Moon Knight, and I want to see him come back. Also, the woman who plays Layla, who I've never seen in my life, did a really good job as well. It's just a really solid show, and I definitely will rewatch it. But I can see how upon like rewatching it, it won't be as good because it did have a lot of slow moments. It took a while for the plot to really kick into gear. But yeah, those are my thoughts on Moon Knight. Now, Spider-Man No Way Home. God, I really want to put it in best of the best, but I know it doesn't go there.
See, I almost would agree with you.
I'm gonna put it above Endgame. I liked it more than Endgame, but I wouldn't say it's above Civil War. I thought a lot, like, kind of, it had a couple issues with Avengers Endgame. Like, I watched it, I think, 3 times. The second time watching it was the best. The third time was the worst. There is a little too much fan service in the film, but that's not a bad thing. I mean, they're bringing back these characters from 2002. What are you gonna do? There's gonna be fan service, but like the reveal of almost every character was amazing. I like that Doc Ock was the first villain to be revealed because he is probably the best villain out of all of them. But that's just my opinion. In this movie, I would say Willem Dafoe was the best villain because Doc Ock didn't have as much time to shine as the villain because he was kind of cured pretty early on. But Willem Dafoe, I personally think he was better in this movie as Green Goblin than he was in the original Spider-Man. Kind of like same case of as Loki, where it was a character that we'd already known and we already knew what he was capable of, so they could just go crazy with him. Yeah. There was no need for an origin or anything. Literally,
that's exactly what they did with him. It just went off, and like, I like where like it made Spider-Man more Spider-Man.
Yeah, I mean,
it made the struggle real for him.
The two characters that I really think the two villains that I would say everybody agrees were done dirty were Sandman and the Lizard, because the Lizard doesn't really show up at all, and Sandman, I feel like I felt like at the end of Spider-Man 3 his like arc was finished, right? Like he was he knew he did bad things, and he knew that he would, I don't know, he just knew he'd been bad and he needed to be better. But in this movie, he kind of just went back to being evil kind of out of nowhere for me. Mm-hmm. And I didn't like that about him. And like with the Lizard, like I thought he was a really good villain in The Amazing Spider-Man. I liked the Lizard, but he wasn't given enough screen time in this movie, and he just became a brute. Nothing more. But the main 3, Electro, Green Goblin, and Doc Ock, were still amazing. I thought Electro was improved quite a lot from The Amazing Spider-Man 2, which I still love. I still love that movie, no matter how many flaws it may have. But Electro was entertaining. I would say the Aunt May scene didn't really hit me as it should have. I feel like it was supposed to be super emotional, but for me, I couldn't. It wasn't hitting me in the feels.
Yeah.
I didn't really like, because I don't know. She had always just seemed like a comic relief character to me, not really a super emotional character. Which I could tell. I could tell at the beginning of that movie that they were kind of pushing that. Because I felt like all of a sudden she was becoming a lot more compassionate and like serious. So I part of me thought during the movie is that something bad's gonna happen, probably to her. I wasn't sure though. And Doctor Strange was also good in this movie, but he also didn't. He felt a little off to me. I don't know why. I couldn't really put my finger on why. He just felt off. Doesn't mean he was bad though. He was still really good.
He didn't seem like Doctor Strange.
Yeah. He seemed a little too aggressive. A little too controlling to me. I don't know why. But then again, they were dealing with the multiverse, so I mean, I guess that might be understandable. But Ned also great addition. Great addition. I love Ned. MJ was okay. But you know, I don't know if it's just me, but I liked Andrew Garfield a lot more than Toby in this movie, and I felt like not even most of the time, but there were a few moments in the movie where to me it felt like Toby wasn't being genuine with the role. There were a few scenes, a few takes where it just seemed like he was doing it for the paycheck. Like that entire scene of him in the grandmother's house, Ned's grandmother's house. Something was just off with his character. I didn't know what it was, and it just didn't seem genuine. But later, as it got a little farther, like later on, like when they were all talking, that felt genuine. But then back when, I'm trying to think, the other scene where I saw issues was when Toby was reunited with Doc Ock. It just didn't seem right. But other than that, he was pretty good. But, you know, Andrew Garfield, I think he really gave it his all in this movie. It felt like he wanted to redeem himself, which I didn't think he needed to. I still loved his version of Spider-Man. And, you know, he was just one of the highlights of the movie for me. I feel like I've been talking a lot. You want to say anything, Jake?
No, I think I agree with you. I think that just the movie itself is just such a uplifting film, and it just brought so much life to these characters that we thought were just not ever gonna be seen again. We never saw Andrew. We never saw Toby.
I'm waiting for the new cut that's coming out in like September.
Isn't Andrew supposed to do something else? I think they're having him back.
I don't know. I feel like that might be rumors because I'm pretty sure I saw an article where he was saying he was taking a break, but I'm not sure. But another thing, Daredevil was cool to see in the movie as well. That was pretty surprising for me, and I'm excited to see this new cut, this longer cut, because I'm hoping they add the courtroom scene that they cut out. I would love to see Daredevil, defend Peter in court. That'd be really cool. But yeah, I thought the movie was amazing. Much better than I thought it was going to be.
Exactly.
Now, the finale, one of the most disappointing Marvel movies I have ever seen, and it was Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. I would put it below Falcon and above Thor. I don't know if you want to be here for me talking major spoilers here, because I will be talking major spoilers.
Alright, I mean, I could dip out. Do you want me to dip?
Well, I don't know. I mean, it depends on... I mean, I assume you really want to see this movie eventually.
I'll see it eventually. It's just I can't right now.
Yeah.
Why is it that when I open my TikTok, there's a TikTok that says Rosa Parks died in 2005, which means she may have watched Shrek.
Oh my god.
I'm just gonna leave you off on that one.
Alright.
I hope the rest of the stream goes well. This was enjoyable. I think we created a pretty solid list.
Yeah.
I don't think I would really change anything. I think we got it done.
I would say, like, with the tiers itself, it's kind of hard to space them out. I would say the
Yeah.
order we have it in is pretty solid.
It's pretty solid, but if there was more tiers, I think it would make it a little better.
Yeah.
It would just make everything fuzzy and shit. So.
If we, like, ranked it, like, 1 to, like, 30, like, what's the best movie, what's the 30th best movie or show, then that would be easier to, you know, rank.
Mhm.
But the tiers kind of make it a bit off, but most people just like this method. So,
Yeah.
I'll talk to you later.
Have a good night, guys.
Good night, Jake. Alright, so I'm going to be not brief. I'm not going to be brief here, actually. Because this movie was one of the biggest disappointments from the MCU. And, you know, part of me kind of wants to take a break from it all after seeing this movie. It's not terrible by any means. It's not bad at all. It's just a disappointment. Now, nothing against Sam Raimi. Sam Raimi, he's an okay director. I liked his Spider-Man movies a lot, but something about this movie just didn't work for me, and I don't know whether it was pacing or the plot or character development. I don't really know exactly what it was. But here, I'll turn the music up a little bit while I talk about this catastrophe of a film. It has a lot going for it, or had a lot going for it. You know, Doctor Strange 1 was one of my favorite Marvel movies, just because I love the character, and I was hyped for this movie. This movie was, like, after Spider-Man, this was the next biggest movie I wanted to see. Even above the Batman, which now I like the Batman much better than this, but let's talk about the pacing really quick. The pacing in this movie is atrocious. There's only like 2, maybe 3. No, there's only 2 plots in this film, but it feels like there are 20. Because, like, 5 minutes in, you're at a wedding, and all of a sudden, in the middle of that wedding, a big eye monster shows up, which is chasing this girl that can travel through the multiverse. Oh, not to mention the beginning of the movie, which just starts with this girl, America Chavez, running in this, like, void with another Doctor Strange. This Doctor Strange's like, I'm gonna kill you so this thing can't take your power to jump through the multiverse. That guy gets killed, and then all of a sudden we're at, like, a wedding or something. And then America Chavez shows up, and this is, like, 10 minutes in. So much has already happened in 10 minutes. Cut to a different scene, and they're talking about Spider-Man. It's... And there's jokes that just do not land at all. And then 20 minutes in, Wanda is revealed to be the villain. Oh my god. Listen, Morbius, the Marvel Legend, if it were on this list, which I didn't make, it would be above Infinity War. But that's just me. Anyway, I couldn't get invested with Doctor Strange at all in this movie. I didn't get the vibe of Doctor Strange from this movie at all. Wong was okay. I liked Wong. He was fine. And Wanda as the villain was also pretty good. But the main plot of Doctor Strange with America Chavez was god-awful, in my opinion. The only part that I thoroughly enjoyed in this movie was the Illuminati scene, which I'm going to spoil that scene. So, I don't know. I am assuming it's been quite a few. It's been a while since this movie came out, right? Yeah, it's been a month. So, I liked the Illuminati a lot. I liked the lineup for the most part. You know, it had Mordo. It had Blackagar Boltigan, Black Bolt. Awful name. I don't know why that's his name, but Black Bolt. I love that they brought him back. Captain Marvel, Captain Carter. Actually, Captain Marvel wasn't Carol Danvers. It was Maria Rambeau, I think her name is. So it was the black woman from Captain Marvel who was Carol's best friend, became Captain Marvel instead. Professor Charles Xavier from X-Men, and then Reed Richards, which was a pretty cool reveal. I liked it. I liked seeing Reed Richards in the film. And it was weird seeing John Krasinski as Reed Richards, but it was short-lived. It was short-lived because well, as you would assume, the movie introduces all these characters from a different universe. Well, Wanda is on a murderous rampage. I wonder what's going to happen to them. Now, I liked the scenes with the Illuminati. I liked the scene of them explaining that they had to kill their own Doctor Strange to save their universe and whatnot. And it was like, okay, these people know their stuff. They might have a chance at defeating Wanda. I knew they didn't, but I loved them being so cocky in front of her, being like, okay, listen, Wanda, calm down. But then, Reed Richards, smartest man alive, by the way, according to Marvel, decides to tell Wanda exactly how they're going to defeat her, which is Black Bolt's mouth. You know, I think the line was, Black Bolt can destroy you with one whisper from his mouth. Cut to Wanda, she says, what mouth? Cut back to Black Bolt, his mouth is gone. That was pretty cool. I like that. I also liked how gruesome his death was, because he spoke, but because there was nowhere for the sound to go, and it bounced off his, like, the skin covering his mouth, it bounced back into his brain and made it blow up. It was pretty brutal. I like that. I liked it a lot. It was really good. And I think the most jarring part of that scene was the fact that none of the characters felt like they knew what was going on, and that's partly because none of the characters in the Illuminati actually filmed scenes together, apparently, or maybe not most of them didn't, because you can see like Captain Carter and Captain Marvel just like didn't know what was going on, and that was a bit jarring. But then right after Wanda decimates the Illuminati, it just goes back to the awful pacing and story and character development that the beginning of the movie had. The music battle between Doctor Strange and a darker version of himself was unique. It wasn't entertaining, right? Wanda in the See, I went into this movie not expecting as much as everyone else was expecting. I was going into the movie thinking, okay, I know Sam Raimi. He's made one of my favorite superhero movies of all time. He's a pretty good director. Doctor Strange is one of my favorite characters. I don't care, like, I didn't care who they brought into the movie. I was just hoping that it was going to be good. A good story with good character development and good pacing. Come to find out, there was really none of that. I didn't expect them to do much with cameos. I knew Tobey Maguire wasn't going to show up. I knew most likely the original Fantastic Four weren't going to show up. But some characters showed up. Captain Carter from What If, Black Bolt from the Inhumans show, a different version of Reed Richards, which was cool, and Charles Xavier from the X-Men. Like, I that's about as much as I was expecting, and I was perfectly fine with that. But the story was just such a mess. I couldn't keep up with the story, because the two plots that this movie had felt like 20, because the pacing was so awful. And the movie was so short as well. Like, for a movie about a multiverse of madness, I feel like they would explore more than, like, 2 alternate universes, but that's just me. That was another thing that I had an issue with. I just, and like I said, Doctor Strange just didn't feel like Doctor Strange. And that started with No Way Home. He just didn't feel like Doctor Strange. And there were cool, like I said, good moments with the Illuminati. The corpse of the Defender Strange was kind of cool. But But other than that, I couldn't keep up with the story, and it did feel like a 3-hour movie, even though it was only like 2, which is not good, not good at all. But I would need to rewatch it again to really get more into specifics about why I didn't like it, because I saw it a month ago. So I'll have to watch it again when it comes on Disney Plus, and then I might get back to you guys. But yeah, no, Rocco, I wasn't too concerned about cameos or crazy fights between like Wolverine and Spider-Man. I went into it thinking it was going to be just a good movie because Doctor Strange 1 was so good. And I just did not really like it. Oh, and the ice cream song. Actually, can we talk about the ice cream song real quick? The ice cream song was, honestly, I think it was better than the Illuminati part. Oh, look, the porn bot's back. I do agree from the things I've heard. I think they rushed a lot of things. So many opportunities they could have done. Yeah, no. It was just a disappointment for me. Though I will watch it again because I need to watch movies multiple times to really get a feel of how I think of them. That's why I'm unsure about quite a few of these movies. Like, I've only seen Captain Marvel once. I've only seen Thor: The Dark World once. Spider-Man: Homecoming once. Though I've seen Eternals once, and I know exactly how I feel about that. Because it's awful. But, yeah, my opinions might change. My brother said that the movie was better upon a second viewing. But, I don't know. Major disappointment. And, honestly, let's talk about Thor real quick. I don't think it's going to be as good as it's being marketed as. I don't know. I feel like Marvel, this specifically during Phase 4, has been lacking when it comes to their movies. Their shows have been overall pretty decent. At least they've been average. The only one that wasn't was Falcon and the Winter Soldier. But that's just because it was just really boring. But most shows are either like average Marvel properties or a little bit better, which is good. But the movies, like we got Black Widow, Eternals, Doctor Strange, they're not that crazy. They're not that good. The only Phase 4 movie that I really enjoyed was No Way Home, and part of that was because of all the cameos that were in it. So I don't know. Yeah, I feel like I'm just kind of tired of Marvel right now. I think I'm only gonna watch a few movies here and there, like Thor, Guardians, and maybe Fantastic Four, and like I haven't even watched Miss Marvel yet because I just want to take a break from it all. Also, I think I'm just gonna wait until that's all out before I watch it. I like to watch my shows all at once. So I am gonna probably end the stream here because I have been going for 2 hours and 13 minutes. Jesus Christ. I want to do more tier list stuff, though. So, I know, Rocco, you're the only one here right now, but, you know, if there are any tier lists you might want to see, let me know. As long as they're not people. I don't like to rank people, unless they're historical figures that have done atrocious things, in which case I think it'd be funny to rank that. Based on how dumb they are, maybe. I don't know. But yeah, let me know if you got any ideas. But for now, I'm going to end the stream here. It was fun. It was a fun stream. It was fun to rank these movies, because I've never actually done this before. And it really made me realize how I viewed these movies and what I think of the overall MCU. As a Marvel fan, at least. Hell, maybe I'll do, like I said, maybe I'll do Batman movies next, because I love Batman. But I gotta watch the George Clooney ones, so... Maybe not. Maybe I won't do that. But have a good night, Rocco. And I don't know if anyone else is watching, but if you are, have a good night as well.